Welcome back to another episode of On This Subject. I'm your host, Michael Vilardo, co-founder and CEO of Subject, and we are so excited to have you on the show today. We have a return guest. As we mentioned to our fans out here, if the person no longer has a large following and is going to entertain you, we're just going to roll out our backup, Ana Romero. And so she's here on the show today. Welcome back. How do you feel about being back as a backup?
Doesn't feel good to be a backup, but thanks for having me.
It's okay, but we always enjoy our conversation and we try to bring some good life humor to what we're doing, which is trying to disrupt education, help kids all over the world. And we can't thank you enough for all that you listen and really help our following. The more followers, the more fans, click like and subscribe below because that will help us impact more students. And we're here to help students have the best life possible. And so, yeah, as we've said many times before, you're a teacher, you're a Compton, Kendrick fan. What else going on in your personal life?
I don't know. Honestly, let's talk about this week. This week was a really long one. You were traveling a lot. I didn't get to travel, but that means that I have to be very mindful of your travel.
Yeah, so
So
what's it like having to deal with the CEO? Like, how much work is that?
it's a lot. We,
But you love working, so it's all good, right?
I love working. I love working for you, Michael.
We're a
With you,
team.
we are.
But, when you worked at a school, which is such a demanding job and underpaid, and you're not underpaid here, I hope. But what's it like going from teaching at a school to being a support person for a CEO? Like, how much more hours are you putting in a week here versus the school?
You're putting in a ton more,
So how
obviously.
much? Like twice as much, three times as
So
much?
working at a school, I was probably working. This was my first year, everyone. So your first year, you work a ton
I thought
because you
you worked
have.
at a school for 3 years.
Yeah, so you're. I'm talking about my first
Well,
year,
we
which
got to
was the
know the
most
facts for the
challenging.
fans.
So first year, which is the most challenging for any new teacher because you have nothing, you have no idea what you're doing. You're crying like every day after school. I
Well,
was
we haven't
probably
seen you cry
working.
here yet.
I don't cry in front of people, everyone. So first, you're probably 50 hours a week. I was
Okay.
also working a second job.
But that
We
doesn't count for
if we
this
don't. So
discussion.
just one job, 50 hours a
Okay.
week.
And
Now
second year, how much?
on a good week, meaning like everything's running smoothly, I'd say like 65 to 70 at least.
What? Well, no, not here. I'm saying at the school.
Oh,
You said you worked most the first year you
oh,
worked
you're
the
saying
most.
that my second and third.
Yeah.
Oh, that probably went down to like 45 hours a
Okay, so
week.
you're working
Yeah.
about twice as much. One and a half to twice as much.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that?
Because you're getting paid really well. So,
This-
like, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And so, one thing when I was teaching, and one of the reasons I left was because it's Monday, and everyone says, like, it's Monday, 4 more days. We're going to get through this. It's
Hey, let us
Tuesday.
get to Friday.
Well, wait. So then it's Tuesday. Tuesdays were our minimum days. So you're like, we're gonna make it just till 1:30, and then it's Wednesday, and everyone would be like in the break room, it's almost Friday. Thursday, be like, thank God tomorrow's Friday. Friday, be like, it's the weekend, and so you're always living for the next break, the
You're a
next time
weekend warrior.
you are, and so I came to a realization I don't want to live for the next winter break, the next Thanksgiving, the next summer break. Part of it is teachers are just super underpaid. You have like overflowing
Yeah, because I think
classrooms.
there's a thing we want to always say there with gratitude. Teachers need to be paid more. Like we said many times in this podcast, and I'll say again, teachers need to make at least $200,000 a year, and we believe that vehemently. Being a weekend warrior, now, one, I think it's not a very fulfilling life because eventually you run out of things to do and you realize it's not that fun just trying to socialize and party and all this things that society makes you think is cool. It's not cool. Being in education and learning is cool. So let's dive into that. In your role, you were a weekend warrior and you didn't even have the funds to really enjoy being a weekend
Nope.
warrior, so it made it even worse and more difficult. I had an obligation this weekend, and it made me remember, and I said this to Anna off camera, so I'll bring it on camera. It made me remember that feeling of when you have something you hate, and oftentimes they'll put it as a job. And don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this obligation, but it was something that I definitely wouldn't have done on my own time. And that high and excitement you get when you get in your car and get to leave. Well, yes, I'm free. I don't have to. And if you feel that way at your job, you got to get out of that job. You are not working the right job. If you are excited to leave the office, you clearly are working at the wrong place. And so you felt that, and it's great that you were able to identify that. And you should be really proud of yourself. A lot of young people are afraid to take that risk. And also, a lot of young people, they don't realize if you spend 10, 15 years in an industry, you are not getting out of that industry. Chances are very low. I give it 3, maybe 4 years. Now, like what we're doing, you could say it's startups. So you could say within startups. But for instance, I was at Uber Freight at one point in my career, and I remember one of our bosses said, "Hey, if you are in this role for years, you're in it for life, you're a freight lifer. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can. And then, shout out freight. It's a great place to make a solid career and help a lot of people. I did not like it that much. And that gave me a little panic attack and made me want to seek out stuff that I was passionate about, which, what happened next was the bikes. And you know that cars are coffins, everyone. You should not drive a car. You should only walk and bike. Cars are terrible.
That's such a bad thing. I think sometimes we need to be careful not to manifest that, Michael.
Well,
Everyone.
let me ask you this. How many times have you been complimented for making it from home to work in your car? Never. But if you get in an accident or a speeding ticket, nothing good can happen in the car. Although I will say good storytelling and good friendships are built in cars.
Exactly. I will. Yeah, exactly. Road
But
trips.
driving alone is worthless.
Yes, everyone. For all of those that have a long commute to work, I don't know what you're doing.
You should live within 2 miles of the office. You get extra money.
Not a popular opinion, as we've learned.
Yeah. What do you think? You haven't gotten any social media hate yet. When are you going to step up and get some content creator hate?
I have to be more public on my social media. I don't think anybody, if anyone could find my Instagram easily, I would give them $100. That was
You come
very
up as a
purposeful.
suggested account to me.
On Instagram,
Yeah, I purposely respect
do
the
you,
I respect
are
the
you
work
sure?
relationship,
Are
so
you
I
sure
don't.
it's the same?
Do
Okay,
you
well,
want me to give out the IG handle right now on the air?
I
The
know.
fans are gonna all find you. We might
No.
get some social media
Okay, that's
trolls.
fair. That's the phone number. If you didn't have my phone number and trying to find me, you could not.
I agree with you there. I
Yeah.
agree. But you've came up on my Twitter or not Twitter, excuse me, on my Instagram and TikTok, and out of respect for
Oh, my
privacy,
TikTok.
I purposely have not even looked or
I
followed.
haven't.
Yeah,
TikTok was an easy one. X is public. Instagram,
you're a
that
public
one.
figure now.
Thank you.
So she just got her
Public
big
figure
Hollywood
and
break.
backup on
Backup from
the.
the pod, but public figure. So Anna is now teaching a lot of our classes, as am I. We are really passionate about this hypothesis of ours is that if we could bring more professionals into the education space mixed with incredible teachers, which we have so many great teachers building out our courses and being able to instruct on camera as well, we could get some really good feedback for students on what they like. And so now you're back on camera, one of the best teachers in the history of LAUSD, Ana Romero. What's it like teaching again?
Wow. I got to get that on a
That's what I
plaque
heard.
somewhere.
That's what that was the word on the street when we recruited you. Was like this is
Wow.
a rising star in the industry, and we just were able to recruit top talent.
Yeah. So we did we wrapped up filming for one of our courses last week. And I think one of the biggest learnings after filming for even just after filming for like 2 hours, I was so bored of my own voice. I like couldn't hear it anymore. And we said I need to
Imagine
step
doing that for
out.
8 hours.
Exactly. So I'm like I'm trying to empathize with these students and it's not the teacher's fault. That's why I think you should have more than one teacher in a classroom and you shouldn't be in a classroom for more than an hour with the same person.
Yeah.
But I was like, these poor kids being lectured by the same people over and over. It's so boring. You're not going to watch a Netflix show with just one main character. You have several main characters. You have a good plot. You have someone who's the villain, someone who comes in as the funny person. So good learning. I was like, I can't do this alone. It would be a disservice. Let's bring in more characters. So that was a really good
Well,
learning.
think about this from the school standpoint. And again, we're so indebted to the teachers. They're the heroes of society. Let's get them $200,000 a year and help them in the best light possible. The overall school system, and I'm not a true historian on this, and actually it's going to make me want to do more research because I should be. Think about this. When school started, there was no remote work. There was none of this going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was an opportunity for parents to be able to have their kids go to a building for 8+ hours and be taken care of. Food, education, things going on, be trained to be able to potentially work in a factory job or something
Yeah.
along those nature, industrial revolution. It's 2024. We're in almost 2025. And these kids are still expected to sit in a chair for 8 hours a day. That is not the way. I mean, you wouldn't expect you to go churn butter tonight. Yeah, I mean, think about some of the other things. You can go watch a silent movie. You're not going
Yeah.
to do that. But we expect kids to be doing. I really, and again, we should be experts at this. So, like, feel free to check me on this. 1800s, these kids were sitting at 8 hours a day at dusk, and they still are in 2024. What's with that?
Yeah. I actually wonder when the seating arranged. I think it might have been 1900s. We should fact check this.
Yeah, I said
Because
fact check me. Come
yeah,
on.
I think the 1900s was when you had like those rows and in classrooms. Because
You
I
don't think
think
like the 1890s they were doing that?
I we need to look this up because
Okay,
I
we're going
yeah
to.
we're going to.
And
So
hey, next episode, so this is the third episode with Anna. Episode 4, we will
we'll do a
revisit
history lesson.
the history lesson of when did these seating says, when I went to school, the things that I look forward to the most were sports. I love sports and I'm so indebted to sports. And I loved the passing period in the hall, meeting up with my girlfriend at the time or meeting up with my friend at the time. You should be looking forward to learning.
Yeah.
That's what's with that is like, but because you're trapped in a desk for 45 minutes straight,
Well, I was
you're
gonna
like, I
say
need to get up
because
and walk
learning
around.
started one-on-one. Like only
What do you
wealthy
mean, the history of the
students.
world or
Yeah, like when you
Aristotle or something?
Aristotle, exactly. You had your private, I mean,
You're
not
right,
everyone
Aristotle
had.
and Plato.
Yeah, you
Yes, good
had
history
one-on-one
lesson.
teachers,
One-on-one teaching is the
and
way.
only wealthy folks were able to afford it
In the history books or not?
in the history books.
And both now too.
Now, yes.
Well, that is proven fact too, by the way, everyone out there listening, that statistically one-on-one tutoring affects a student's journey more than any other indicator. One-on-one tutoring. But to Anna's point, how are you going to afford one-on-one tutoring when you have a family of 5 in a one-bedroom apartment and you have something really stressful happening that day? It is just not equitable whatsoever, and that's why the wealthy and ultra wealthy can get ahead even further because they could provide that for their son or daughter and be say, hey, we're going to make sure you get one-on-one tutoring, ACT, SAT prep. You're going to get a personal trainer for your sports. But the thing is, if you were that wealthy and, hopefully we enemy, you would want to do the same thing. So we shouldn't fault that. We should fault the system. How can we help the system provide more one-on-one instruction?
Loaded question. And I'm speaking from my personal experience in the classroom was in the elementary school space, and it's ridiculous. You have one, I was a kindergarten teacher and I had 27 students at the time in the
And for
classroom.
the full day, because it's kindergarten.
Full day on my own in one classroom.
Any
If
help?
you're, no help,
Oh,
zero help. I didn't have any aides, which
wow.
is ridiculous. You should
That's tough.
kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers, you all should have aid.
Everyone needs help.
Let me ask you, if you have 27 kids under your care from 8 to 3 p.m. and you need to make sure they're always safe, what would you do? What would your day
No,
look
that's really
like?
hard. So for me, the closest thing I've done to teach, although I've taught 2 classes on Subject, everyone. Please go enjoy them. They're very engaging classes, subject.com. I coach hockey and baseball. And so the hockey team was about 20 kids. And then the baseball team was, I believe, 13 kids. But to your point, the longest I ever was with them in one setting was probably 3, at the max 4 hours.
So, like, imagine
Typically only 1 or 2 hours.
Imagine you had them for 8 hours, though, in a
Oh, that's what I'm
classroom
saying.
setting.
And
What would that look like?
I always had an assistant coach. So like that's why I have such empathy, especially when you break it down there. One, you would never be able to be one-on-one with a student ever because if you were one-on-one out and the other 26 are running rampant, that is not a safe environment. And then you have your neck on the line with the parents, with the school leadership. It's just not fair for anybody. And that's why at Subject, we always talk about you should be using our videos as the core instruction. Kids love videography. They love short form. We love helping students. And then you will have time to go around the classroom one-on-one because they're so engaged. They're watching that, feel like it's a Netflix movie. They are loving Subject and they have chance to do that, the one-on-one tutoring. But if you're just using something that's super antiquated or boring, or if you're telling them to read books, it's not going to happen. Nobody wants to read a book anymore.
Yeah.
When's the last time you read a book? Probably like
Very
yesterday
long.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I haven't read.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that I, especially coming in this role as CEO, I really tried to force myself to read a lot and on Audible. So, see, not even reading the book, Audible. And I think I've completely stopped now on that too. I think
Yeah.
I'm done with audiobooks. Podcasts. I
Yeah.
love podcasts. It's relevant to today.
Yeah.
It's modern bits of information. It's so much more helpful. Yes, there's beautiful books out there, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. There's some books that will last
Oh,
the
and some
test of
people
time.
just are able to digest information better by reading. Not everyone, though.
No, it's all audio and video.
No, I think some
Are you
people
trying
do
to be?
need
You're trying to
to.
be righteous right now.
No, I think some people can digest even when you're watching a TikTok video.
I love
Sometimes
that. I love the
the
TikTok
captions.
video.
I want the captions.
But that's part of the video. That's right.
It is, but some people
I
need
watch
the words to digest
every
it.
single show I watch on TV. I have captions on. I love reading.
No, there are
I'm saying I don't
times-
like a book. No, I'm saying I love reading. I even make it so every movie or TV show I watch in my house has the captions. It helps me remember better. I agree with you there. I'm saying a physical book. I don't believe.
I think some
I don't
people-
believe anyone learns better with a physical book. I will die on that hill.
Even people that only learned how to digest information through a book.
Oh, well, I'm saying of the kids coming up today.
Oh,
We're having a
okay,
discussion on
okay,
the same
of
topic.
kids.
We gotta
I'm
get on the
talking
same
about
page.
just in general, and I do think there are some kids. I see a bunch of kids sometimes at the airport just with their books. I think there are still
But that
kids
might
who
be
really.
around some righteousness, people forcing them to do that.
I don't think a kid would be at the airport with a big book just on their own.
That's my point. That's my
Sorry,
point.
sorry,
Thank
because
you. We
no,
walked right
because
into
I
that.
don't think no, I don't think a kid would be choosing to be on a flight when they could be on their video game
But maybe
using
they have
like
strict parents who are saying that.
these kids look like they're really into it. Yeah, I'm gonna point
So
one
you
out.
just
I'm gonna
have that
point.
good of an eye that you could tell, like, oh, they
No, because
love that
I think it's crazy when I do see a kid with a book. I'm like, why are you with a book? Why aren't you on your phone?
because you shouldn't be with the book. You believe that, right?
No, I think if that's what you enjoy, if some people really enjoy reading, if that's what you enjoy to do, you should do
But
that.
you can read on your phone.
Why would you choose? It's bad for your eyes, Michael.
No, it's not.
No.
So I've had a couple eye doctor appointments in the last couple of months. Very stressful endeavor. I don't have the best eyes. And I actually brought that up. I said, hey, I'm on my computer probably the whole day. Minute I wake up to minute I go to bed, other than the workout break, I'm typically on my phone or computer. So let's call it 14 to 16 hours a day. Is this causing risk? And they said, absolutely not.
Is this
They
causing
said,
X? No, but you said, is this
they
causing
said
X?
no.
That's not the question. See, you're
They said no.
deflecting. You said, is this causing
No,
X?
they
That's
they
not what I'm
they
saying.
acknowledge it causes eye strain, and my eye
See?
strain,
Yep.
but it does not cause eye damage. So,
Strain. I don't think
so you
strain's
care
a
a lot
good
about
thing. I don't think strain is a good
straining.
thing.
When you work out your legs, it's good. When you work out your heart, it's good. But not working out your eyes,
Welcome to my life, everyone. I will never win an argument with Michael. Okay.
you might. You never know.
Yeah.
Remember when you first started that subject? You said you wanted to go to law school. What happened to that dream? You could have won. So
No.
why did you realize that law school isn't for you? What happened?
Have you ever said that?
I
That's
thought
not
you
for
mentioned
me.
it in passing a bit. Oh, so you might leave us for law
I,
school now.
you never know. I
Jeez, she's on the
just,
hot seat here.
oh man, I don't know. Shout out to the legal team that we work with. We don't use legal much, but gosh, some of the stuff we sent over, I don't want to look into this. Doesn't seem like a corporate legal. I don't know. Maybe criminal lawyers have
No, I always
more
thought it'd
interest.
be, I wanted to go to law school when I was in undergrad. I thought it'd be a good path for my skill set, but then I found out that your undergrad GPA dictates what law school you go to so much. I went to a Penn law seminar, and they're like, yeah, if you don't have a 3.8 or higher, you're not going to get in the top like 20 schools. I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of unfair. It's like, oh, you should go to a worse undergrad because then you can get a better GPA. Like, and talk about
Yeah,
that, how messed up education is in
yeah.
that way. It's like, do you take the easiest classes and go to a lesser school so you get a better GPA, or do you go to a more rigorous school? It's very arbitrary, which I don't appreciate that part of it. I wish that there was a more opportunity to really showcase why, because I think I would have been a good lawyer. I think I'd be, but that is why I didn't do it.
You
Was
would have been a really good
because
lawyer.
my GPA wasn't good enough, and it made me really sad. And I wanted to go to law school, and I had to settle for this life.
Yeah. No, you would have been a great lawyer. Fun fact, Michael loves to argue. For fun, he's a
Debate,
debate.
friendlier,
You're
yeah,
what, contrarian? Is that what you
contrarian,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what you say. So just always loves to play devil's advocate on everything.
It entertains me. I like to be fascinated with life. I don't want to be boring.
Yeah. So there you have it.
No, but I think that when you talk to young people and how they could do a better job of crafting their path, understand as much as possible what you might want to do after school because it does affect what you want to do. If you want to get into business, I think going to the highest ranked school possible is going to be the best for you. If you want to get into law school, I think going to a school that you carry the least amount of debt because law school is super expensive and it's 3 years, and that you could get the highest GPA. That way you could get into the best law school. A lot of the top law schools take a lot of lower ranked school students who have the 4.0 or 3.9. Chance of you getting a 4.0 or 3.9 at a top school are very little. Did you get a 4.0?
Absolutely.
No?
No, I wasn't too far off.
That's awesome. I'd see. And another fact, I have not looked at GPA one time when hiring.
No.
Nobody cares
Students, if
except for
yeah, no one
schools.
cares about.
When you are in school, if you're going to graduate school, you need to try to do well on your GPA. I can't trust enough. If you're going to college, in high school, your GPA is very important. But on your last stop, so for me, that was my MBA. It depends on where you end up going. But for now, Anna, that's her undergraduate. GPA doesn't mean anything. It's the stuff you've learned about yourself and the world, and it's the network you've built. Network you've built more than anything. But I can't trust enough. Like for instance, in business school, naturally it's a lot of type A people who are really competitive, and some of them really cared about getting all A's. And my whole focus in business school was like, I'm going to try as many companies as possible. And I founded two companies. The first one was V Home, shout out. Second one was Subject. And, it definitely suffered in some of my grades. I still did plenty solid, but nobody cares about your GPA.
No, we see a few undergrads apply here and they put their Don't do it. Don't worry about it. We don't care.
You don't care at
Yeah.
all. No, your
It won't. It won't impress us.
GPA is
And
not getting
yeah.
you a job here. I don't know one person GPA here, but you know what I do know? I know where every single person here went to undergrad. Every person. I could rattle everyone's undergrad who's ever worked at subject. And I
Yeah.
truly do, and you know that
Oh
too.
yeah, I
I
know.
also am pretty good at closely memorizing the top 100 US new schools.
Another skill of Michael's. Yeah. Logo chaser.
What? Former logo chaser. I admit Anna was
Yeah.
right. And shout out my incredible co-founder. The two of us influence each other a lot, and he's done a really great job of getting a lot of brands on his resume. And honestly, it's funny, we were at this meeting the other day, UCLA board meeting, incredible opportunity. So
Mhm.
thankful to give back. UCLA's done so much for me. And I was telling him about Felix, shout out Felix. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, we met at the Reardon Fellowship just through UCLA. So they were so proud to hear that. I'm like, yeah, it's really special. And they're like, oh yeah, like what was he doing before? I'm like, oh, Harvard, McKinsey. But see, right away they're like, oh my god, he's so smart. I'm like, yeah, I know and he is super smart. Felix, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. But see, his logos is what drew me in. Other than him being a great guy, we became friends first. But not everyone that went to Harvard is brilliant like Felix, and that's the thing is that I have gotten tricked a few times. I will happily say it, but we have more people from Penn at our company than any other school.
Now we do. Yeah.
You hate them because they're logo chasers.
Apparently, I hate everyone.
Are you not? Are you not about the Ivy League anymore? Well, tell us your Ivy League stance. I know you don't like it.
My standings for Ivy
Stance.
stance.
Oh, that too. We'll do that next. But your stance
Oh.
on the Ivy League.
Um.
Why do you hate it so much?
I don't know where that came from that I hated them. I think it's impressive. If you come to me and tell me that you went to an Ivy League, I'm gonna be pretty impressed off the bat. I am immediately. I'm gonna get to know you and I'm gonna have a much higher expectation for
That's
you.
true. That's
Yeah. So
true. I
I'm
agree with that,
yeah.
Bed. Okay, let's see your Ivy League standings now, and then I'll go after you.
Gosh, this is gonna be a terrible look.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
by the way, for everyone out there, so that way we can bring everyone up to speed, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of fake news out there about the Ivy League. The Ivy League is simply an athletic conference. Yes, it has a lot of history and is aligned to a prestigious academic reputation. It's simply an 8 league conference. So when people say, "Oh, Ivy League," there's only 8 schools in the Ivy League. Doesn't mean there's schools that are better than some of the Ivy Leagues that aren't Ivy League. But I've had people tell me, for instance, like Johns Hopkins or Stanford, incredible schools. Oh, they're going to the Ivy League. That is not the Ivy League. The Ivy League is 8 schools. So she'll rank them and then I'll rank them.
I'm not gonna get all 8, but I'll rank
What?
my top 3. And it's unfair. Like I didn't grow up following. I didn't grow up being like I'm gonna go to an Ivy League.
Well, neither did I, but you should know about
Um.
this now. You work at education.
Okay, my top 3.
Top
And
three,
this
there's
is
8. You're only ranking 3. You got to rank
yeah.
at least. No, we're going to go through 8. Let's see it. Do you want me to go first
Go
and then you go?
first. Yeah.
Okay. Not to make it about myself, but
No, I
I'll lead
already
the
have
way.
my top. Well, because I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
I'm
right,
gonna
because
have
then
a
you'll.
strong opinion on the last 5.
That's okay, but you still got to try. You got to
Yeah.
put that effort out there. Plus, we
Okay.
can clip this then. So, top 8. So, for me, the top 8 Ivy League, Harvard above all else. Harvard is the best school in the world, in my opinion. If you go to Harvard, I think it's worth a lot of money. I, for instance, fun story segue, had an interview here in LA. First time I'd ever been here, I was 23 years old. They flew me out for free, which was the coolest thing ever at the time. It wasn't that nice looking back. You stayed at some not nice airport hotel, and it was a private equity company, and it was for like a sales role. And I ended up getting the job, but didn't end up moving out here. And one of the guys who drove me back to the airport, he went to Harvard Business School, and I said, "Is it worth it, like going there?" And shout out Harvard, did not get in for undergrad or graduate school, so I'm still a little bitter and jealous, and would love to go there. He said it's worth $1 million to go there, and
Mhm.
I 1,000,000% agree. Harvard, if you get in, I don't care how much debt you have to take out, it will pay off the rest of your life. I look at Felix and the way that he leverages his network and the conversations and relationships he has simply by saying he has gone to Harvard. It is worth more than $1 million. And so go to Harvard if you can, everyone. I truly do. I am biased, but I truly believe Penn is number 2. Penn has more billionaire alums than any other school in the world, even more than Harvard. Really cool. It's in Philadelphia, which is technically the farthest south part of the Ivy League. So, not by a lot, but it is the warmest weather in the Ivy League.
Mhm.
And it is considered the social Ivy. So, it's the more outgoing. It's got over 10,000 undergraduate students. So, it's not as small as the other traditional Ivy Leagues. I truly believe Penn is number 2. And for me, really, and again, I think they're all amazing, so I'm gonna go through them.
Yeah.
Those 2 are a cut above the rest, in my opinion, and those, for my kids one day, and hopefully they get to listen back to this, Those would be the two schools above all else in the entire world I'd want them to go to, Harvard or
Mhm.
Penn. Then we're going to go through the rest of the list. Three, I would put Yale. Yale's not my cup of tea. I was offered to play hockey and baseball there, but it's more of a traditional school in that it's really good for medicine, law,
Mhm.
politicians, which again, that's not what I'm doing with my life, but it's an incredible school, great network. So many really talented people have gone to Yale. So I put Yale number three. What would surprise most people, and this is a little bit of a hot take, I would put Brown number four. And let me tell you why. One, Providence is a really cool city. Really cool city. It's also 45 minutes from Boston, so easy to get there. But Providence is really cool. Right on the water, Rhode Island, great downtown, awesome city. Also, open class selection. You can take all your classes, not even tied to a major, and you don't have to take a grade in any class. Well, that may seem out there to a lot of people. Like we just talked about on this podcast, these grades and pieces, I think it's important to be able to dictate what colleges you can get into. Your grades don't matter in college. Learning. And so I love that about Brown. And also, they've had a lot of really good entrepreneurs from Brown lately. Dylan Field, the Figma founder, he went to Brown. So many great founders from Brown, surprisingly, compared to the other Ivy
Yeah.
Leagues. I believe after Harvard and Penn, it probably has the most unicorn founders. Now, fact check me on that. I don't know if I'm for sure correct, but it's very surprising. Brown has done great. I love the campus, love the energy going out there to play baseball. Brown, I would put it number four. I'd put Princeton five. Most commonly ranked the number one school in the world, so maybe it's a little low on my ranking being five. I'm not a huge New Jersey fan personally. I love, the New York suburbs and, Bergen County and such, but Princeton's in very like a rural
Mhm.
area of New Jersey, and I'm a city guy, so I like being able to walk around. But Princeton's an unbelievable education, so I put Princeton at number five. I would put, yeah, I'm running out here. You got to challenge me. I would actually put Dartmouth in number six. I think for undergrad especially, Dartmouth is such a cool place because everyone moves to Hanover, New Hampshire. They hang out together. You build a really good network in Dartmouth. Really pretty campus. It is cold. It's in
Yeah.
New Hampshire, but I would put that at number six. Number seven, I would put as Columbia. Incredible school in New York City, which is so cool. But I do think there are some cons being in New York City at 18, 19 years old. I don't think everyone's meant to be in that scene already that young. It also makes it not as exciting to go to New York after school with that degree, and people are more commonly not just hanging out with Columbia students, they're going out in New York City. And so I think meeting people in your school is a really powerful and part of the
Mhm.
process. And number eight, I would put Cornell. Incredible school, so great. Not trying to put it down, but I would say, you know, there's a lot of schools that you'd say outside the Ivy League that are probably even better than Cornell. Great school, wish you the best, really cool hockey rink. But that's my eight for eight. What's yours?
Gosh, that was so good. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
I don't have a strong opinion on a
You don't
lot of
have to
these.
go as in depth on your rankings,
Yeah.
but let's see what you have to say.
And I'll do the top three because honestly,
No, you're doing eight.
because the other five are just gonna be on the same
That's
level playing
fine.
field. So I'm
That's
just
fine. You could just
gonna.
rip through them quickly. Go to
Okay.
alphabetical.
Number one, I would probably put. This is just myself speak. Gosh, honestly, Michael, you've been a huge influence. Like you put UPenn.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
kind of
huge.
you.
I think there was we once
Appeasing to
saw.
the boss.
Well, we once saw a list that I think UPenn was like the highest ranking IV for partying. What?
It was in 2014, yes, but that
Oh,
was a
okay.
one-time thing. But yeah, no,
Well,
it's definitely the most.
a party
That's
school
definitely
is
the.
important.
I agree. Let's here. That's a hot take. Let's do a quick segue with it. Why is it good to go to a party school?
You're not you. It's way easier to grow your network.
Yep.
Two, you are a much more social person. Three, you
Yep.
have a lot more to talk about. And we've
Yep.
seen like when
I
you
agree.
enter
I
coach,
completely agree.
yeah,
I even said, and Anna saw me to one of our leaders at the company who's really talented. I said, "Hey, partying is one of your superpowers." I'd also make fun of the partying, but I'm saying that it actually can help you in business at
yeah,
some points in your
yep,
career.
yep,
And so I agree. The partying in college it could be a good part of the experience
yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
Okay, so pen number
So
one.
I'd put Penn one.
Thank you, Elon Musk. Pen.
Two, I'm between Columbia, and that's probably because of its location.
Yeah, it is a great city. I mean, New York is one of one.
And Harvard just because of the logo. Like the
Yeah,
logo speaks for
but you
itself.
haven't been as impressed with Harvard.
What do you mean?
Well, you know that I put it on a pedestal and you don't.
No, because I don't put a lot of things. I don't
I
put
think
other
no,
things,
and
yeah,
I think
on a
it's a good yin
pedestal.
and yang of us. I'm more of a high low kind of guy. You're
Yeah,
very
yeah,
even
yeah.
keel, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I'm not easily impressed. So two, I would do Harvard because I'm not naive. The logo does matter. And
So Harvard, then Columbia. Or you
Yes,
said
Harvard. Oh
you
gosh.
said Columbia first. Let's go with
Okay,
your first instinct.
Columbia,
Columbia, then Harvard.
Columbia,
That's your
yeah.
top three. So you got 5 more to go.
Harvard. Just put everyone else fourth and
Wow.
fifth.
So Yale, no love. Just like these schools.
No,
That's good though.
I take that back. No, Yale, I would put fourth because of Yale law. Number one,
Yale
law
is the
school.
best law
Yeah.
school by far. Easily the best law school.
Everyone else, I don't
Okay,
know.
no, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. So, when we talk about these topics and we really bring them to our listeners here, is like we want to bring more color commentary to these incredibly prestigious institutions and these stigmas in education, which rankings are important. I was just at the UCLA Anderson, incredible school, had so much help working on the board together, and we talked a lot about the rankings because it affects, who applies to the school, how many people enroll, what the yield is, how many alumni give back. These rankings have a lot of power. Which is so funny because you think about it, in 1900 there was no rankings. Now these rankings dictate so
Mm-hmm.
much of the decision, and so that's one of the biggest complexities of education, and how we're always trying to get better here at Subject is our thought is help people fall in love with learning and help students, no matter what zip code they live in, have the best chance of having a successful life. I think there's a lot of systemic changes that need to be made in education where it's not necessarily only about rankings, only about grades, but that's getting away from the love of learning.
100%.
And so what we're going to do is that on the next episode, and we really appreciate you spending another incredible evening, afternoon, morning with us. Thank you for following and subscribing on Spotify and YouTube. That's where we're trying to grow. Is that we will dive in on the history of school, what it was like to start sitting 8 hours a day and why that was the case to be, and how we can help students move to more interesting experiences like Subject that can help them fall in love with learning. Because at the end of the day, students are the future of society, they're our future leaders, and teachers are the heroes of society. And we're so indebted to work with them every day. Thank you for joining me again today, Anna. Great backup.
Thanks.